Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Samuel Mann. I'm a policy advisor at the New York City Mayor's Office of Sustainability, and we are so glad to have you all this morning. Hope you're settled in with a cup of coffee or tea to join us for this chat. Well, let's start with some big news. We're so excited and so honored to announce the relaunch of the New York City Accelerator program. This is a free program offered through the New York City Mayor's Office of Sustainability, and it is committed to serving the people of New York City and the city's diverse building stock. Through energy and water efficiency upgrades, the accelerator can not only help you improve your building's performance, but create healthier spaces, places to live, to work, to learn, to worship in. And it also supports a strong local economy, all while reducing city heat trapping pollution citywide. In a couple of days, it'll be Earth Day, an ideal moment to focus on the ways we can restore our city and our planet as we continue to move toward a just and equitable recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. This last year was a very difficult one, to say the least. We endured a lot. And while we're not out of the woods yet, we are in this together, and we are optimistic about the return of New York City and the return of the New York City Accelerator program as a step toward recovery, toward restoration, and a step on the path toward a carbon neutral future. We'll be offering office hours with the Accelerator team. Stay tuned for more details toward the end of the event. Um, I want to say happy spring, happy Earth Week, and thanks so much for joining us today. With that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Simon Mugo, Deputy Director of the New York City Accelerator Program. Thanks all.
Thanks, Samuel. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. We're really excited to connect with you all today. The New York City Accelerator team is staffed with energy efficiency and building science experts who are dedicated to working with you. We'd like to hear from you so we can determine how to best serve you. To that end, we'll be doing some interactive polls throughout this next section to learn more about your needs. To participate, please go to www.slido.com. That's SLIDO.com and type in Accelerate NYC. Or if you prefer to use your cell phone, you can scan the QR code that's right on the screen. If you're having any technology issues throughout the event, please tell us in the Q&A box and one of our staffers or team members will help you. That said, let's jump into the polls. So first off, we'd like to gauge your familiarity with our program. So that's our first polling question. Have you previously worked with the New York City Retrofit Accelerator or Community Retrofit NYC? And I'll just give us a few minutes to record your responses. And just as a quick reminder, please note that the Slido code and the QR code will always be available on the left-hand side of the screen. Also, if you please keep the browser open as we will be using it for a few other questions throughout the event. So it seems there is some familiarity with New York City Retrofit Accelerator, which is good. The number of results is still coming in, so let's give you a few more seconds here to record your responses. Okay, great. So it seems that majority are not familiar with either of the previous iterations of the program. So whether you've worked with us before or you're new to the program has expanded and changed. So what is the New York City Accelerator and how is it different? Well, the New York City Accelerator is a free city-backed program to help you boost your building performance, tenant comfort, control costs, and meet local requirements. This program will also help you to reduce your building's carbon emissions. The Accelerator program is here to provide technical guidance to help you to help the whole market transform how our buildings operate and how they're built. We can connect you to financial incentives and service providers. We'll also be building up the green economy by providing training opportunities for building operators and managers. We currently serve privately owned buildings over 5,000 square feet with a targeted effort for buildings larger than 25,000 square feet. We service existing buildings as well as new buildings and encourage participation for buildings seeking to conduct deep energy retrofits. Our team is experienced in a variety of project types, including heating and cooling, lighting, solar, green infrastructure, and whole system upgrades. Our experts can help you navigate building energy laws to meet emission targets. These services can help you get more out of your buildings through increased performance and savings, while also improving tenant satisfaction. If you have any questions regarding the New York City Accelerator program, please submit those in the Q&A section, and we will try answering those, time permitting, at the end of the event. To better serve you, we'd like to get to know a little bit more about you. So for our next poll, please select the title that best describes your role. And I'll just give us a few minutes or so to enter your responses. As a reminder again, the Slido code and the QR code are always available on the left-hand side of the screen. Also, please keep Slido open as we'll be using it for additional questions throughout the event. So based on the initial results, it seems that there's a majority of owners and property managers in the audience. That's closely followed by other. If you can add maybe in the chat what that other is, find a title that best describes who you are and what you do within the building sector. We'll just give it a few more seconds here. I see we're still getting a few responses here. And the owner and property manager groups still is the highest or best represented group throughout the audience. And that's great. So as part of our goal to support a market transformation, we provide the following assistance to each of the stakeholder groups. So for building owners and property managers, we can help identify energy efficiency projects within your buildings and guide you through the implementation process and connect you with financial assistance. For service providers, we'll connect you to potential projects and help you expand your knowledge through virtual trainings. And for advocacy and industry professionals, we can help your communities and networks grow through free trainings, plus provide cross-promotional opportunities to help you stand out as industry leaders. We look forward to partnering with you and expanding the awareness and understanding of the climate crisis and the role that building science plays across New York City. We understand that each group may have its own unique challenges, and we'd like to understand what those are. The last question we have on the docket today is, what are your top priorities for your buildings in 2021? Please order those from number 1 being the most important to number 7 being the least important. Given that this is a ranking poll, which is different from the other questions that we've asked throughout this event, I'll give you a few more minutes to record your responses. And again, as a reminder, the Slido code and QR code will always be available on the left-hand side of the screen. I see that reducing operational costs are a top priority. And that's understandable. I think over the past year or so through COVID, I'm sure the way we use our buildings and the occupancy rates have dramatically changed, and I'm sure that has impacted our operational costs. So it's interesting to see. I think we can leave this this poll running, and I'd actually like to switch over to some of the questions that are coming in through the Q&A box, and I think we can address those as the responses come in. So if you still haven't had a chance to record your response, feel free to take your time. We'll address some of the questions that are coming in, and finally we will review the final results after that. So I think one of the first questions that I can see is whether the New York City Accelerator program serves small commercial buildings or commercial buildings in general. And the answer is yes, we do serve commercial buildings. We serve all building types, and we have a targeted effort towards buildings over 25,000 square feet, but that does not mean that we would not serve any building that needs assistance through the program. And the next question is very similar in terms of whether or not the building supports the small commercial building sector. Yes, we do. When should the New York City Accelerator be engaged? Is that before, during, or after an architect or engineer is contracted? I think in both cases, we would be able to provide some value. I think if you connect with us before you have an engineer or an architect on board, we can help you identify or connect with service providers who would be better suited to your specific needs. And so the goal of the program is to provide you with support and enable you to learn more about what financial incentives are available, whether that's utility incentives or state incentives, and also to get access to service providers, and that's engineers, architects, and other individuals and professionals who serve the building sector. The other question I see here is one of the audience members noted that they would need assistance with benchmarking and how should they proceed. You can feel free to reach out to the accelerator. I'd be more than happy to go over the benchmarking process with you. And also we work or collaborate with the Sustainability Help Center, which actually provides a lot of assistance in terms of benchmarking, and they have a lot of training opportunities for building owners who are interested in doing benchmarking themselves. And so connecting with one of our account managers would be able to kick you off on that process, and we can go over exactly what's needed and what you would need to do to complete your benchmarking before the upcoming deadline. And the other question is, how can the New York City Accelerator help with Local Law 97 compliance? So we do have a number of resources that we can point you to in terms of learning more about the law. There's a benchmarking or a Local Law 97 calculator that can allow you to determine, based on your utility usage and your building square footage, where you stack up against the 2024 target as well as the 2030 target. So the way the program can help you is one, identify where you are in terms of in relation to those two targets, as well as connecting you with financial incentives, either through the utilities or through state-funded programs, to be able to mitigate or reduce the upfront costs of implementing the measures that will ultimately reduce your carbon emissions. And so the way we would work with you is, we would review sort of the information you would provide to us, and then help you develop a roadmap in terms of what would be needed to be done to reduce your carbon emissions. So we have another question here from a service provider. What is the process for a service provider becoming a partner with the New York City Accelerator? So I think that's one portion of the program that is still in development, and we plan to roll it out later in the spring. And I think the best way that I can think that we can work together is we would have a number of RFQ opportunities for specific measures that we would be looking at in providing New York City Accelerator participants with. So I think that's a good avenue for service providers to be engaged, is to respond to those RFQs and be placed on this list in order to serve the participants that are engaged in the program. And we also have a number of training opportunities that would be of interest. And so those obviously would be rolled out later on as the program opens, but I think we would have a number of training opportunities for service providers to take advantage of. Yeah, so we have another question here from an audience member who is interested and noted that they're confused between the benchmarking law and Local Law 97. Could you please give us the connection or differences among them? So Local Law 33, which is the letter grades, is really tied to your site energy use. So how much energy does your building use? And that's related to your carbon emissions. So Local Law 97 is based on an emissions factor, which is calculated based on your building type. So each building type has a specific factor, and you would calculate your allotted emissions or your cap based on your square footage multiplied by that factor. And so there is a relation in the sense that if your building has a lower letter grade, which indicates that there's a higher energy use, that would also indicate that there's a good chance that the building has high emissions and could be outside of the allotted cap. And so that's really the main difference. And I think benchmarking and Local Law 33, going back to your question, is those two are related in the sense that the benchmarking process, the process where you provide your energy usage and upload that through Portfolio Manager, that is the same data that will be used to generate a score, and that score is calculated using the Portfolio Manager system. And I think the last question here, just time permitting, is a question around working with the accelerator to address a very specific need, which is a leaking boiler. I think that's definitely something that we can assist with and provide you with the resources in terms of identifying energy efficiency programs that may be applicable, or connecting you with service providers through either of the utility programs. And I think the best advice that I would give is to schedule a one-on-one with one of our account managers to look at your situation more closely and identify a solution that's sort of tailored to your specific needs. And that actually takes us to the next section of the event, which is launching the office hours with our team. So thank you all for joining the chat today. We really enjoyed connecting with you and hearing from you all. We hope you found this very informative and would like to continue the conversation. We're sure you have questions, so to best deliver on our program's offering of individualized help, we're providing office hours with our team of experts. You can sign up at the link in the chat. Just choose a day and time that works for you. Office hours are available immediately after this call through the end of the day, Thursday, May 6th. We look forward to working with you. If you have any technology issues when signing up for office hours, we will stay on the line for the remainder of the allotted time for the event. So just let us know in the Q&A box, and we'll find a solution to that issue. If you have any other questions at any time, please feel free to email info@accelerator.nyc. We also have a website which has a lot of information about the program, as well as additional resources to help you and your building. Just visit nyc.gov/accelerator. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your day. And just a quick note, while we still have the attendees, we will be sending a recording of this event. And so if there's anything you'd like to go back to, we'll definitely make sure we make this available to everyone who registered for the event. And I just want to acknowledge that we have received a number of other questions, and we can address those during the one-on-one sessions. So we'll make note of those and be able to address those through the one-on-one sessions. And so we'll remain live just to make sure that you have access to the calendar event or the Calendly tool to be able to schedule the one-on-ones. And so if you have any questions, definitely feel free to use the Q&A. We'll still be on for about 6 minutes or so. But if at the end of the event you still have issues getting an appointment or being able to connect with us, you can certainly email the info@accelerator.nyc email. Thank you.